Live, Laugh, Larceny discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all you psychopaths out there.
All stories are based on actual events, but details may vary.
Listener discretion is not advised.
Live,
Laugh.
Larceny. Welcome to Live, Laugh, Larceny. Stealing a sucker from the DMV because they stole your sanity. This is Trevin.
And I'm Amanda. That is so damn true. It really is like a mental institution for car registering.
It is pretty bad. I was there not too long ago, and it's funny how you all get to know each other through shared trauma.
Shared trauma.
Yeah.
yeah. So, Trevin, speaking of trauma,
Yes.
what is your dreadful dilemma this week?
Oh boy, I've got a dilemma. I kind of teased it in a dilemma like 3 or 4 weeks ago about thinking I had a job. I actually never gave anybody an update on that.
Yeah, how dare you?
I got it.
Woohoo!
And literally yesterday was my last day at the job that has been my muse ever since we started this show.
Oh my God, that's a good point. You've had a lot of dreadful dilemmas based on that company.
Yeah, it was the place I got crop dusted. I had all the salesmen that taught me about being a man. On literally my first day at this job, my lunchbox got thrown away by the cleaning person.
You've had some weird bathroom interactions as well.
I've had weird bathroom interactions. This is about to be not the place I go every day, but that random place that you have about one nightmare a week that you're still going there sort of a thing, like high school or back to old relationships.
Totally.
So this is going to be into that folder of my brain now, which is an interesting, I'm feeling it moving and it's weird for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I will give you all one last story because just a couple weeks ago, we went to a corporate meeting for them thing. They had all the managers of all the locations come in because the way that the culture and everything works is the managers of all the locations kind of butt heads with some of the corporate people who are in the corporate office. So I've talked to you about how at the end of the month to push numbers because we all need to make more money. Oh, we don't. They want to get a certain number at the end of every month so that every month looks more profitable, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So all the managers of all the locations kind of hold off to the last minute, and then they dump it all at the end of the month, and then they all go home. Our department was always the people that had to work the overtime to make sure that got taken care of.
Totally.
And it didn't hurt the other people to wait till the last minute. They actually got better bonuses because of it.
Oh my God.
So
isn't that just corporate America right in a bow?
It is. And so instead of fixing the system, they kind of would just always sort of shame the other managers of the locations and be like, do better. So they had them all in town a couple weeks ago at a local casino. And they said, oh, this is a chance for you all to mingle with them and just get to know them and have a free lunch.
Oh, free lunch. Okay.
So we all showed up and they said, come into this room because they had a big room where they all were at big desks and they had little presentations and PowerPoints. And apparently they were going to be scolding them about how they're always waiting till the last minute to do their work, you know, trying to help us without just changing the process.
Mm-hmm.
Out of nowhere, they have us walk into the room and we're just kind of off to the side because I thought what they were going to do is just like, hey, if you guys want to meet your analysts, you can come over here and meet them. What they ended up doing was they made us stand in the front of the room in front of probably like, I don't know, it looked like 60, 70 people. They lined us all up and our manager went down the line and said each of our names and like what we do. I wasn't even expecting to be presented to people.
Now presenting.
And like, of course, these people already hate us. They don't care about us. And as they're doing this really big head honcho dude is like, we're doing this to humanize these people. We need you to see that these are real people that you're affecting by not doing your job right. It really felt like one of those really sad dog videos. It's like, it was exactly like
but
that.
It was like you, your coworker, and another coworker, and it's like all of you in like your little business casual attire slouched in front of the room. Wow.
And it says, if you guys could just do your jobs correctly for 2 hours a day, you could help one of these corporate analysts see their families for longer. And that's exactly what it felt like. Yeah, they were just kind of scolding them and saying, they're real people, and if you just do it the ethical way, you won't be hurting them.
Damn.
At the same time, though, it's still just like, but we'll still be giving you your bonuses based off of the fact that you do that. And we would just like you to do the right thing.
We just want to do a public infomercial here today and not really change anything. But please donate.
Yes. As for the dilemma, I am hitting the bitter part of the bittersweet of it because I am leaving a lot of good people that I really care about and really loved seeing every day.
Yeah.
And so there is some sadness to it because I love the people. I just didn't love the logo or the company or any of that.
Yeah.
So I will really miss them. And yeah, there's just some friends I don't want to say goodbye to.
It doesn't mean you have to say goodbye forever. I mean, we used to work together,
That's true. I guess I'll start another podcast.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, with all that time I have.
Well, I'm so excited for your new job. I'm so proud. I knew you could do it, Trevin. It was just a really long waiting game that really messed with you,
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I also wanted to say, too, thanks to And That's Why We Drink, too. I wanted to bring that up in this episode.
Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have already seen a shift with listenership coming in since being on their show and having them on ours. Just welcome to the Doomed Crew. That's actually what we used to call our people. We really haven't said that in forever, but
yeah.
But welcome to the Doomed Crew. We're so excited. And oh my God, Christine and Em, genuinely, I could not say enough great things about both of them.
Yeah, I can't either. It was a great experience, fun time. I think we made 2 really fun episodes together. And the reason why I cut that in there to my dilemma a little bit is I also wanted to just say that this year with my birthday, for once, I finally kind of gave myself like a gift I really wanted because I was just like, I want to do something that helps the podcast. And last year was, we had our ups and downs with trying to get that to happen. And then also it's like I've been saying forever, I want out of this job. I mean, it has been so many dilemmas. And although entertaining, it has been really like getting out of a toxic relationship, really.
Right.
And so there are a lot of things thinking back that's like, I cannot believe that I'm actually getting out of this and I never have to do that thing again. Or I never
know.
So that's crazy. But I'm not a person that receives gifts all that well. And when people ask me like, oh, what do you want for your birthday? I'm always like, oh, shucks, you don't got to do nothing for me.
Yeah.
But I've been saying for the longest time, I want to do more for the podcast and I want to leave this job. And through hard work on both things and getting out of my comfort zone, I achieved both, doing 2 obvious big changes. And it's actually so much easier for a person like me to accept this kind of gift because I feel like I've also earned it.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you are another year older. That's not earning a gift.
Right.
If you were to buy me like, let's say, oh, I got you a brand new car, I'd be like, oh shit, I don't deserve this.
Right.
It'd be a weird gift. But like when it's something like this, it's like, no, I can actually say to myself, I deserve this.
You do.
And I earned this. So there's just a lot of emotions going on in me right now.
Yeah. Soak it all in. I've been working on a project where I've been going back through all of our old episodes. Trevin, sweet baby boy, we have come a long way.
Yeah, I believe that.
And you should be proud. I can't believe we're still going. Honestly. I mean, we've had a lot of things come our way, so you should be very proud.
I'm proud of both of us and just happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Same. I also have a dreadful dilemma. And we must just both be like in our feelings because usually, I mean, gosh, have I ever really had a serious-ish dreadful dilemma? Ever?
Maybe pregnancy. You probably had a couple serious ones in there.
Right. Maybe. But today my dreadful dilemma is a little bit serious, but don't worry, there's sprinkles of humor throughout it. Don't you fret one bit. So recently, I went to brunch with my childhood best friend, Molly. We've talked about her on the show before.
Oh, yeah.
You guys might know her as Nurse Molly. I've talked about how she's a nurse. I went to brunch with her, which is something I don't really do that often. You know, busy mom, got to feed the kids usually. Took some time away, went and got some brunch, really cute place in the city. All was well. We ordered a couple of champagne strawberry margaritas, which I've never had before.
I want one right now. That sounds awesome.
They were so good. It had like fresh strawberry puree in it. It was like bubbly and light and fresh. It was so good. And so we were taking a couple sips and just chatting, catching up, and I started to feel a little bit weird. Part of it I thought was maybe I'm just a lightweight because I don't drink that often anymore at all. And I even told my friend Molly, I was like, finish this drink. Like, I cannot finish this drink. And she's like, okay. And she's kind of laughing at me like, you lightweight, blah, blah. So then our food comes. I'm still not feeling so great. My stomach's starting to hurt. I'm starting to panic a little bit inside, but I'm like, stop being a dramatic asshole. Just enjoy brunch. Everything's fine. Like, nothing is wrong, right?
Right. Don't cause a scene.
Yes. Don't cause a scene. Don't ruin this. Maybe the feeling will pass is kind of what I was thinking. Well, instead of the feeling passing, it got worse. And I started to sweat like I've never sweat before. When I was describing it to you earlier, it was like every pore in my body was dripping with sweat, like running down my face sweat. And it wasn't even hot in the restaurant or really outside. It was like a very nice day. And I was like, okay, I'm not feeling so good. I was like, I think I'm going to throw up. And then finally I was like, I think I'm going to pass out. Last thing I remember, I was looking at my friend across this little table. Next thing I know, my head is on the table and my friend is now standing beside me with her arm on me. And there's a waitress coming up with like a cold rag to put on the back of my neck and everything. And I was like, whoa, 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 I missed a chunk of life. What the hell? And she's like, yeah, you passed out. It was probably only for about 15, maybe 30 seconds, she said, somewhere around that department. Anyway, I was mortified. I was, like I said, drenched in sweat, so flushed and disoriented and just out of it. And I'm like in public at brunch. And this is where a little bit of the humor comes in, okay? Because I know that's all kind of scary. I know I'm saying it like it's not, but I'm a little bit removed from it, okay? This happened last weekend. So my first reaction when I see these waitresses coming up to me is I feel like I have some explaining to do to them.
Oh,
because
you feel like guilty.
Well, I'm looking around this brunch place, right? And this is a place where you can order like towers of mimosas and unlimited buckets of booze, you know, just liquor, liquor, liquor everywhere.
Oh, so you thought you looked like you were super drunk.
Yes.
Okay.
And so my immediate reaction in my own mind, even though these are the same waitresses that know how much I've drank, they've only given me one, they can see I'm not even drinking it all. But in my mind, I felt like I had to explain myself. So I'm like, I promise I'm not drunk. Like, it was like my first thing to just be like, I haven't had a tower of booze secretly, you know? And all the waitresses were like, we know, honey, like, we know.
I think I would probably be the same way.
I just don't want them to think I'm this drunken fool at brunch passing out at the table. So once I cooled down, my friend Molly, she got me home safe. She somehow, when I was still gathering everything, somehow paid for our bill. They gave me a to-go water cup. Like, everyone was very sweet, and they like let me go out this way where not everyone was watching me. It was honestly a very low-key pass-out experience. A lot of people didn't even know that it happened. I'm talking about people like a few feet away from our table. They just were eating their meal and laughing like nothing was going on because it was such a low-key thing. I just passed out on the table.
And they just like rushed you out of there like they were getting Taylor Swift to stage. Like
Exactly.
you're in like a janitor box and they just put you in real quick and got you right out the door.
It was kind of surreal. But long story short, I'm feeling much better. I've gone to the doctor. We're doing a bunch of blood work and some tests and stuff, getting some meds adjusted, trying to figure it out. What we think it might be is vasovagal syncope, because I am telling you, when I looked up the warning symptoms and what exactly happens to you, it was like check, 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 check. Yeah, if any listeners have that or know anything about it, I will take any DMs on the matter. I'm just trying to research it as much as I can and figure this out because, yeah, I cannot just be passing out left and right at brunch.
No.
I don't have the time or strength.
Plus, how many more brunches do you want to ruin in your life?
Not one more, Trevin. Not a single one.
Exactly.
So today we are going to be playing a round of trivia.
I want to play again.
Whoa, Trevin. We do not have the rights to say that.
Let's have a fun time.
Okay, Trevin. This is a fun one.
Yeah, I think mine's fun too.
Is
this the
it?
fun episode?
I mean, we just got super heavy on these folks. We
Oh, that's a good point.
might as well uplift it now.
Very dilemma heavy episode.
My trivia for you, Trevin.
Mm-hmm.
Which of the following celebrities has a mugshot taken of them with their tongue sticking out? Is it A, Justin Bieber, B, Lindsay Lohan, or C, Mike Tyson? What's going on in that brain of yours?
A lot's going on in my brain right now. I feel like it's not Bieber. I'm going to go Lindsay Lohan.
Okay, so B, Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, that sounds pretty punk rock of her, and she really rocked in Freaky Friday.
That's a really good comparison, but I hate to break it to you, you're wrong. It is actually C, Mike Tyson.
Damn it. That really was where I wanted to go.
I hear you. I mean, shoot, I could have guessed any of them. While all three do have infamous mugshots, Mike Tyson is the one with his tongue sticking out. This arrest took place in 2006, and the reason why he was arrested was that he nearly struck a police cruiser after leaving a Scottsdale, Arizona club at about 1:45 a.m. Tyson was found to be under the influence and in possession of 2 baggies of cocaine.
Hey, we're in Scottsdale, right?
When in Scottsdale. Do you want to see the mugshot?
Yes. Oh, that's silly. It's not as expressive as I thought.
No, it's almost like an accidental shot, and then they just kept that as his mugshot.
Yeah, it's not punk rock.
It's not punk rock. He looks confused. It's almost like a confused puppy dog.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that.
You know I love celebrity content, so I was like, this is fun.
Yes, you do. And I actually have a certain kind of celebrity that I like to bring up as well. And I have a trivia about those. Presidents.
Oh, yes, you do, you little historian.
This one's a little cuter. I think that everybody will enjoy this one.
Okay.
So, with the teddy bear's instant popularity being named after President Theodore Roosevelt, what president stuffed animal combo would later attempt to be the next staple for young children? Is it A, Herbert Raccoon, B, Coolidge Cat, or C, Billy Possum?
Damn. I don't know this one. I'm struggling between B and C, but I'm going to go with B, Coolidge Cat.
And you are incorrect.
Dang it.
You were just like me. We were both on B and C and went with B.
And it was C?
And it should have been C.
Oh my God. Damn it.
The answer was Billy Possum. And I've got a little information about this from ohiohistory.org.
Ooh, shout out Ohio.
It has a fun little article called Billy Possum by Cassie Burris. So the teddy bear began when President Theodore Teddy Roosevelt was on a bear hunting trip near Onward, Mississippi on November 14th, 1902. So Roosevelt couldn't catch a single bear, and his assistants tracked down a black bear and tied it to a tree. And so they brought the president in and were like, hey, why don't you just come here and shoot this? You'll still look like a man, all this other stuff. You can hunt. And he was like, no, that's bad. That's unsportsmanlike. I'm not going to do that.
Thank God, by the way.
Yeah. So then the story got around and it got retold and retold. He was a well-known big game hunter already, so it was pretty surprising that he refused to do that. So a political cartoonist made a cartoon about it, and then candy shop owner later saw this cartoon and thought, hey, I want to try to sell stuffed bears and call them the teddy bear in honor of this. So then it became a huge staple and everything was going really great. But when Theodore Roosevelt left the office of president, toy makers encountered a problem. They thought that the teddy bear might not sell once he wasn't the president anymore.
Oh, were they wrong?
Yeah. So they took one look at the next president and decided to make a new toy, Billy Possum.
Why? I'm sure you'll tell me, but Okay, guys, come on.
So it was a stuffed possum made in honor of Ohio's very own William Howard Taft, who was the next president. They actually thought they had struck gold. They thought this would just be like a continuing thing. Every time there's a new president, there's a new stuffed animal. So how did they come up with this? The story goes that in January 1909, the president-elect was honored at a banquet in Atlanta. At Taft's request, the main course was, quote, possum and taters. When Taft's belly was stuffed, local boosters presented the president-to-be with a small plush possum. The toy, they told Taft, was designed to be the next big thing. It was going to replace the teddy bear. They dubbed it Billy Possum. The gift pleased Taft, as did the dinner. The next day he told reporters, quote, well, I certainly like possum. I ate very heartily of it last night, and it did not disturb in the slightest my digestion or my sleep.
Oh, well, thank you for that tidbit.
TMI, Mr. President.
Jiminy Christmas.
It all came out great.
Could this get any less cute or sexy? I mean, he's talking about his digestive tract.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a possum happen right now. They were all in huge amounts of denial.
Yeah. So here is a picture of a Billy Possum.
Okay, it's actually way cuter than I was thinking. They made it look like a teddy bear. They just gave it obviously a tail and weird feet, but like, look at that face.
Yeah, I mean, it's still cute.
It is cute. I mean, still, it's no teddy bear, but
No.
not as crazy as I thought it was going to be.
It's like such a silly, like, capitalist kind of thing. Just like, oh, I'm going to make a new product that's just going to replace the other one. And it was almost going to be like special Beanie Babies or something, but it's just every new president.
Well, that was really informative. And you know what else we've got information on?
Products and services, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we are back, and I am telling my petty crime story first this week.
And I think the people are ready. We had a good time last week.
Did we ever? Oh my God. My cheeks hurt after that recording. Oh my God.
I had a couple cackles during our time.
You did, you little cackler. So this is a story from the news, and it is a long and detailed story with lots of information published online, which is surprising. As many of you know, a lot of our crimes that we get from the news usually are just like a headline grabber, not a lot of info. This one surprisingly had a lot of info to it. I also wanted to say that this is another one of those stories where kind of like a he said, she said, two different perspectives, two different opinions on how this whole thing occurred. But for writing purposes and storytelling purposes, I just went ahead and wrote it as if both of them did commit each and everything that they claimed of each other.
Ooh.
So here we go. For many years, while trying to navigate the workforce of America, I was told
The customer's always right.
more times than I would have preferred. I heard it so often, in fact, I had almost forgotten that some business owners might not share this same sentiment. After all, how could the customer always be right when there are so many Karens out in the wild?
I'm mad.
Even still, many corporations put their clientele on a pedestal, throwing coupon codes at those throwing the biggest temper tantrum. Use code I'm sorry for 20% off. The story I will be telling you all today is about a businesswoman who did not believe that the customer is always right. So much so that things quickly turned from professional to petty. It was an idyllic autumn day in September 2022, as Sean Mackey made the drive from Mississippi to Tennessee. He admired the sunlight pouring through the trees that lined the street and tapped his steering wheel playfully as he thought about his weekend plans. Sean had rented out an Airbnb for himself and a few old friends to stay while visiting Memphis. It had been a while since he had seen the old gang, and he was excited to see what everyone had been up to since high school. Sean himself was recently married to a woman named Teresa and was doing well for himself in Mississippi. However, that didn't stop his heart from beating rapidly at the idea of reconnecting with his high school crush, Angela. Sean knew she would be there and couldn't stop from being excited.
Yes.
About halfway through his drive, Sean pulled over to refuel his vehicle. At the gas station, he opened his email. There, he reread through his messages with his Airbnb superhost, Pamela Fuller. The property was titled Little Bit More Country and was decorated exactly how it sounded. However corny the decor, getting a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that could accommodate up to 12 guests for $567 a night was a steal for anyone, cowboy or not. Yeehaw! He had originally told Pamela that there would be a total of 4 guests staying at her property, but once word of the intimate reunion got out, others wanted in. To be transparent, Sean messaged the superhost.
Hey Pamela, I may invite additional pals over for a very low-key dinner, but they will not be spending the night.
It wasn't long after when he received a response. That sounds like a lovely time. I would be delighted to host you all. If you do have additional guest stay, you can add them to the guest list at any time. As a friendly reminder, house rules include no smoking or vaping, no excessive noise, no guests from the local area, no parking in front of the garage doors or on the right side of the driveway, no glass, food, drinks, or urinating in the pool, and no skinny dipping. I reserve the right to impose a $500 fine at my discretion if police were to be called to the house for any reason, and a $250 fine plus a cancellation of the stay for bringing additional guests. The security cameras outside the house are in use at all times and are used to verify guest count, noise, and any disturbances. Thank you, Superhost Pamela. Sean scoffed at the long list of rules, then typed out a generic and polite response.
Rest assured, we will take great care of your home.
Sean and a few of his friends eventually made it to the Airbnb and claimed their rooms.
I farted on the pillow, it's mine.
The crew popped some bottles, reminiscing on how much they used to be able to chug. Soon, there were 9 old schoolmates gathered at the country-themed rental, including Angela. Remembering what the host had asked, Sean sent an updated guest list of everyone who had shown up.
Here are the 9 names of the guests currently at the house. There may be a few more joining us, but only 4 to 5 will be staying overnight.
Immediately, a message came back from Pamela. I apologize. We had not discussed the guest count tripling. Each guest does have to be put on the Airbnb and accounted for, per Airbnb rules and insurance requirements. There is a cost to each guest, even if they do not spend the night. I should also remind you about the strict no parties rule, with only 8 guests total being allowed. Thank you for understanding. Sean brushed off the passive-aggressive response and continued partying with his group of friends. It was a great night.
Let's do body shot!
There was music, laughter, and even a bit of mild flirting from Angela. But just as Sean had cozied up next to his high school sweetheart, his phone began blowing up with notifications. Tipsy and confused, he opened his email, seeing multiple angry messages from his so-called superhost. Either add the extra guests now or have them leave immediately. One message read, I am very sorry, but you have violated the no party rule, disturbed my neighbors by cursing and yelling in the parking lot, and have unauthorized guests. Accused another. I'm asking you to leave now. I can't allow you to stay. I am sorry. After reading the final message, Sean panicked. He and his friends had all traveled to be here and had no other place to stay for the night. He quickly found a cell number belonging to Pamela on the Airbnb details and dialed her up. Only, he was startled when a man's gruff voice answered on the other end. Hello?
Who is this? I was expecting Pamela?
This is her husband, Jamie. Who is this?
Your wife has been sending me some crazy messages, man. She's been spying on me through the cameras, and now she's threatening to kick us out tonight.
Look, I don't care how long you stay there. Just do not call this number again. After the line went dead, Sean forgot all about the drama with the rental host. Tomorrow's problems were for tomorrow Sean. Tonight, it was time to live it up.
We're going streaking!
The following morning, Sean woke up immediately, feeling his hangover.
Oh, man.
He remembered bits and pieces from the night before, but was having trouble deciphering what was real and what was a drunken illusion. He wondered if he and Angela continued to flirt throughout the night, and if his Airbnb host really meant what she said about kicking him out. For answers, Sean opened up his cell to look for any messages. Inside, he saw a good morning message from his wife Teresa back at home, and a new email from Pamela, the host. Hello. I wanted to confirm that you will be checking out the following day. Don't forget, turn off the lights, lock the door, and we wish you safe travels on your journey. Sean was surprised at the positive-sounding message, but figured maybe the crazy broad had cooled off a bit and came to her senses. The rest of the day was spent by the pool with the 4 original friends who planned the trip. They cured their hangovers with fast food and Red Bull, while trying to fully recall the previous night's events.
Who gave me this hickey on my cheek?
Early the next morning, Sean and his pals packed up their belongings, waved goodbye to one another,
Bye.
and drove off to their separate cities. Halfway through his drive, Sean pulled over to the familiar gas station he visited just days before. He checked his phone to realize that Airbnb had sent him a generic email asking for his honest feedback and a review of his recent stay. Sean paused for a brief moment, deciding whether or not he should ignore the request completely or let out all his remaining frustrations. The decision was easy to make as soon as he reflected back on what a cockblock Pamela had been the entire trip.
Super awkward experience. Was almost kicked out for hosting a very chill dinner party. 1 star.
Sean then requested a partial refund of $502.46 for his inconvenience and started the rest of the drive home. Yet, it wasn't necessarily a peaceful trip. Shortly after his negative review, notifications and calls began to come in. He could tell that Pamela wasn't thrilled by his review by glancing at her messages. It appeared she had also denied the partial refund that he had requested. An unknown number continued to ring on Sean's cell until he decided to answer. Hello, this is an Airbnb representative calling to inform you that our company will be suspending your account, an investigation into these claims. This could potentially end with your Airbnb account being terminated.
What? I myself run an Airbnb. I can't have my account terminated. Listen, none of us violated any house rules. If you can find any video evidence from the property to verify these absurd allegations against myself and my guests, then I understand. If not, I will be fighting this.
Sean arrived back home safely to his wife Teresa and again tried to put the drama behind him. He enjoyed a few peaceful days at home without a word from anyone at Airbnb. But after a few days, Sean received another message from Superhost Pam. Hello, Sean. Hope you're well. Sorry it took so long to get the photos you requested together to show your stay at our home, but I had faith, was driven by integrity, so I committed to get these posted for you and Airbnb. Photo at 3:16 a.m. is especially notable. Should I forward the photos and videos to Teresa, or will you? Sean's stomach dropped as he clicked on the attachment sent along with the menacing threat. When the image opened, it revealed a sepia-toned video capture of himself and a beautiful young woman, presumably Angela, walking into the Airbnb together, closely. In the image, he carried what appeared to be a large overnight bag. Suddenly, another message from Pamela came in, saying, I may have to put the videos on YouTube shortly because the files are too large to transmit via text. Attached is your updated bill. Clicking the second ominous attachment, he opened up a bill from Airbnb. The itemized list included a $160 fine for 4 extra guests, $500 for violating 2 house rules, and $300 stemming related to the moderation of his negative review, totaling up to $960.
She thinks she can blackmail me like this?
Sean shouted to himself.
There's absolutely no way I am paying for this.
He decided out loud as he closed out of his messages. A couple days passed without a word from Pamela or Airbnb, and Sean felt like he had called their bluff. That was until his wife Teresa received an unusual email sent to her work inbox from Sean69@outlook.com. The subject line read, "Nice bag," as she opened the email, revealing another question inside. "I love your bag. Where'd you get it?" Confused by the message, Teresa clicked the attachment, opening the same incriminating surveillance screenshot Sean was sent of him with another woman. From September 9th to the 11th during 2022, Sean Mackey from Mississippi rented a home from Airbnb and Tennessee superhost Pamela Fuller. The Memphis rental, titled Little Bit More Country, was originally booked for a weekend get-together with 4 old friends. However, plans changed, with the guests nearly tripling by the end of the first night. Pamela alleged that Sean broke her no-party policy, invited too many guests, and received noise complaints, but ultimately let him finish out his stay after Sean spoke to Pamela's husband on the phone. Sean claimed that no house rules were broken during his stay and left a 1-star review online. After much back and forth from Pamela, Sean, and Airbnb representatives about the rules and review, Sean asked for any video evidence showing any wrongdoing. To his disbelief, there was photo evidence of him misbehaving. According to lawsuit claims, Pamela allegedly forwarded him a surveillance footage screenshot of Sean walking in with a mystery woman after 3 a.m., holding what appears to be an overnight bag. Along with the image attachment was an additional $960 itemized bill. After the bill went unpaid for a couple of days, Sean claimed that his wife was sent an email to her work from the address Sean69@outlook.com with the incriminating image of him. Sean Mackey is now suing Airbnb and superhost Pamela Fuller, accusing her of invading his privacy, inflicting on him emotional distress, and causing damage to his marriage. In the end, not all business owners believe that the customer is always right. And perhaps that's for good reason. After all, no one is immune from making mistakes or getting it wrong sometimes, especially when those imperfect individuals think no one else is watching.
Now that right there is why I love our show. The whole time I was thinking, what is this dude going to do to get retaliation on Airbnb? Or at the very beginning, you think, what's he going to break? At first, he does break the rules, and you think that's just it. The twist, the twist, the twist. That was nice.
They keep coming and coming with this one. Do you not understand how I was like, I have to do this?
Yeah, and you love scorned lovers stories and cheater stories, so this is you to a T.
Everything about this episode is everything I want to talk about. Like scorned lovers, cheating, my crazy life. Like, I just love it. I did want to make a couple of points before we dive into this. Angela, the crush, that character completely made up, except for the fact that there was the picture of him with a mysterious woman. I don't know her name. I don't know if she was part of the crew that gathered for this friend meetup or if she was just a random person that ended up coming over.
Oh, like a Tinder hookup or something.
Right. It could have been so many variants of that. All I know is that there was another woman in the photo that was sent to not only Sean, but also to his wife, is what his lawsuit is claiming, I should say. Allegedly. Because this is like a new lawsuit, even though this happened 2022. Also, I am not sure what was said on the phone between the husband and Sean, but I think both of them did confirm that he called And her husband answered, and then her husband was like, I don't care, you can stay, kind of thing. Like, he didn't want to get in the middle of it.
I wonder how mad she got at him after finding out.
Dude, I know.
She's like, I'm in a war right now.
Right. She's like, how dare you? I'm trying to kick him out. And then the last thing is, and I told you this as I was reading it, I couldn't find the actual negative review left by Sean about the Airbnb because that also was allegedly removed. So I couldn't find that. I had some fun with just saying, oh yeah, totally chill, dinner party, 1 star, like using his own messages against him. But a lot of those messages back and forth, you guys, were word for word quotes, okay? And I do want to say I might have had to tweak a couple of the things just because of storytelling and making it make sense in the way I'm trying to explain this all to you guys. But just know that the majority of things said were actually true.
That's crazy. What was it? Within her integrity.
Yes. And Sean's 69.
See, and I had to ask you in the middle of the story. I was like, is that real? Because that seems like something we would do, but we would go a little more over the top than that.
Right. No, Sean 69 is in the lawsuit that was the email address that it came from. And I do want to show you the picture and follow us on socials. I will share the image. But I want to know your thoughts. If you were Sean's wife back at home, okay, and her name is Teresa, that wasn't made up. And also, I don't know how the Airbnb host even found his wife.
I was wondering the same thing.
Kind of what the invasion of privacy thing is claiming. It's not only like...
Is that like emergency contact or something?
Well, I didn't even think about that. I was thinking that not only was she invading privacy by like watching him on cameras, but that's her property. So she's allowed to do that. So I'm wondering if the invasion of privacy was like finding him on social media, finding his wife, finding where she worked, and then finding her work email. That's a little extreme.
Yeah, that was some work.
But tell me what you would think if you were his wife and you saw this. So it looks like they're carrying an overnight bag, and I think that the thing that's really disturbing is that was taken at 3:16 a.m.
And you get a good look at the woman's face, too.
So you know it's not his wife, right? And they're like really close to each other, no?
Right, and also, what other reason you getting into your house at 3:16?
With an overnight bag.
And it's a
that
woman that your
time.
wife doesn't recognize, you know?
Exactly. And clearly, this image caused his marriage damage.
Yes.
I mean, he put it in the lawsuit. So I just found so many things about this whole thing fascinating. Like I said, it was a good scorn lover one. But the way that both of them behaved was so petty.
Yes.
Sean could have just walked away and not left a 1-star review and demanded money back, even if he didn't break any rules. And this lady was all up on him and blah, blah, blah.
Which he probably wouldn't have been.
Right. That would still be, I feel like, a little bit weird to ask for money back. Like maybe a bad review. People are dicks. We've gotten bad reviews. We know how this goes. But I don't know. The money thing was kind of weird. Like she did let you stay there, you know?
Yeah, she did let you stay the night.
She did.
Didn't call the cops or something.
Exactly. After that, though, she then was also petty, found his wife, found the surveillance footage, screenshotted it, did all this shit. It went back and forth, and it's still going. Now he's suing her. So I don't know, man.
She took what he did very personally, so she just took a personal swing right back. But she shouldn't have taken it that personal. However, one thing that really sticks to me, as long as you didn't make that up, you said he was also an Airbnb host?
Yes, I didn't make that up.
So what a little asshole.
I wanted to put that in there specifically in the dialogue somewhere because he was so worried about losing his Airbnb account, also because he was an Airbnb host.
Then you should be on your best behavior and
I
respect
know.
people that wear the same damn shoes as you.
I know.
So for that, I'm team country home wife
Pamela.
marriage ruiner, yeah.
Honestly, I can see both of their sides to an extent, but then both of them just took it that little extra petty ass mile that I would never want to go to. But I mean, it made for a great story.
Well, that is a very fun story, and it was made for our show.
I had to do it. I know it was long. I know there was a lot of back and forth messaging, but I didn't know how else to write it. I didn't know how else to include all those details. It was a lot.
Yeah, I'm afraid my story might also be long. And our dilemmas were long, so sorry guys if this is your first episode. A little longer, but you know what? We're still having fun the whole time.
Right.
I've got a story for you from the news. Very recent, or at least it's been back in the news very recently.
Okay.
I had a very fun creative idea for it, and I've been watching a lot of Twilight Zone lately, so I'm kind of getting back in the whole like anthology mood and just new angles to tell stories. And I just had this great idea, and I said, let's do it.
Ooh.
So I already have a connection. I really do want to see if you find any other ones,
Okay.
but I think you'll love mine. I think you'll figure it out by the middle.
Nice.
So buckle up, everybody, and here we go. What do you think other people talk about when you're not around? Are they talking shit about your poor attempt to bring low-rise jeans back? Or are they secretly having more fun now that you're not there to kill the vibe? Or do they lock all the doors and shed their human skin, only to unwind in their natural state as humanoid lizard creatures? If you chose any of these three, therapy may be right for you. And don't take this as me judging. I'm in therapy, and I'm definitely one of these three. There are a lot of questions that come with the unknown, especially when it comes to other people. No matter what others are truly up to, our unclean conscience and inability to process emotions play a big part in what we assume others are doing. But what do you do if the curiosity becomes too much? If you're so sure that someone is up to no good, and you just need the proof to confirm your suspicions? Well, the answer is simple. Spying. Spying is the universal way of gathering information on others. It may not be ethical, but it's undeniably effective. Whether it's a child listening to a conversation through a glass pressed against a wall,
Our kid is so fucking lame.
a suspicious girlfriend scrolling through her partner's web browser history,
CelebrityBodyHair.com.
or a full-blown secret agent with a revolving door of one-time lovers. Spying takes various forms. And as you can see, each example carries different degrees of moral complexity. Just as I mentioned earlier, the urge to spy stems from fear of the unknown. Despite having official government spies, you can't tell me that some espionage isn't driven by their government's insecurities. I've witnessed enough in the past 8 years to question whether all covert operations truly serve my best interest. So in honor of human and governmental insecurities, I'm going to tell you all a story that is kicked off by the threat of espionage and the introduction of a mysterious stranger. Welcome to your first day on the job, Mac. I'm confident you'll find your new position here at the Mumbai Police Political Prisoner Dungeon headquarters quite enjoyable. We've heard excellent things about your qualifications and believe you'll be a valuable addition to the team. You strike us as the type who works hard and plays harder, and that's exactly what we need. Now, if you'll just sign this last bit of paperwork, we can assign you an employee number and start your training. Meet Mac. He's navigating the awkward onboarding phase of his new job, and it's safe to say he's feeling a bit nervous. As a soft-spoken young man with a penchant for classic literature, he never imagined himself working in a gulag-esque hellscape. However, the pay for such a job greatly outweighed his moral qualms. So far, the first day had managed to settle Mac's nerves. Despite being initially greeted by the screams of prisoners, the warm welcome from his trainer reassured him that kindness could be found within the walls of this dark, damp hole at the end of the earth. Finishing up his paperwork, Mac turned the pages over and handed them to his trainer. "I think you're really going to like it here," his trainer said, confirming all signature lines were marked. As Mac watched the older man skim the pages, he couldn't help but notice a strange commotion outside the room. Grunts, squeaks of shoes, and other signs of struggle echoed down the halls, growing louder. "Stay right here. I'm going to make sure everything is all right," the trainer said, before quickly exiting the room. As soon as the trainer stepped out, his voice transformed from a welcoming Bob Ross-like gentleness to a gruff, commanding tone.
Stay back, damn it!
He yelled, joining the commotion. More bangs and thuds reverberated through the walls as Mac listened alone in the office, just as he was instructed.
Let's throw him in the Max security cell.
Another voice rose above the noise, followed by a loud slam. Mac held his breath, straining to catch any snippets of conversation from the hallway.
That's one tough son of a bitch.
The trainer's voice echoed.
We caught him off the port and brought him in on suspicions of being a Chinese spy. He hasn't spoken a word the whole time. Thank you. I couldn't have gotten him without your help there.
The door to the office creaked open as the trainer returned.
Sorry about that,
He said, his gentle tone returning.
Looks like we just got ourselves a new prisoner, a Chinese spy. This will be a good opportunity for me to show you how to mark a cell as non-vacant in our system.
The trainer began typing into his computer before pausing to glance back at Mac.
Consider this your first lesson in using your big boy voice. Our boss believes it's more persuasive with the prisoners.
As Mac processed the red flags, he realized why the job paid so well. He imagined what his big boy voice might sound like and whether he can maintain it during a dangerous situation. The more he thought about the mental demands of the job, the more it felt like a nightmare. Before Mac could regret his life choices any further, the door swung open, freezing the trainer in place. In walked an imposing man and his obviously inferior lackey.
Gentlemen, at 06:30 a.m., Mumbai Port Authority began receiving calls about a suspected spy. Now, roughly 2 hours later, I have him in my political prisoner dungeon headquarters. You all know how things have been tough around here. We've resorted to getting 3 uses out of each Keurig cup, and your holiday bonuses this year are going to be bills. That spying bastard in there holds the key to saving our regular coffee orders and my entire business at large. I need you to force a confession from our new celebrity prisoner here and restore glory to my prison dungeon. Failure is not an option.
As the powerful man turned to leave, his subordinate spoke up.
Sir, how do you suggest we get this prisoner to confess? No one else could extract information from him. He's such a mysterious stranger.
The boss grabbed his subordinate's face, his gaze intense.
The big boy voice, son. That's the key to all of this. I know you don't normally talk like this in your day-to-day, and truth be told, neither do I. I could change the rules now that I'm empowered to better align with my natural beliefs. But I was taught that the big boy voice commands respect and gets results. So I'll keep using it and expect you to do the same. Use your damn big boy voice and get me that confession.
With his powerful voice still echoing, the boss turned and walked out of the office.
I'll be the first to try. I've been vying for the boss's approval for so long. I want to get the confession and finally earn his love,
the unnamed subordinate announced to the room. Together, Mac and his trainer listened as the coworker exited the office and marched into the cell across the hall. The man did his best impression of someone sliding into a married woman's DMs, speaking with confidence.
Give me that confession.
The big boy voice was strong with this one, there was no doubt. The sounds of crashes and screams penetrated the walls for all to hear.
Talk, you bastard!
I'm sure he's just ruffling his feathers,
the trainer said, attempting to reassure Mac. The training session continued, with the trainer continuously fighting to be heard over the interrogation next door. Hours later, the training duo heard the cell door open, with the subordinate meeting the boss in the hallway.
Did you get the confession?
They heard the boss ask, followed by crying from the coworker.
Guards, take this failure to Pound Town.
The trainer gasped, looking over to explain the dungeon corporate jargon.
Pound Town is where they take people who are really bad. They just pound you over and over again until you atone for your mistakes.
The pit in Mac's stomach felt as cold and hollow as the prison he currently found himself working in. With how day 1 was going, there was no way he was coming back to see day 2. Once the guards shuffled the man off to Pound Town, the office door slowly opened, followed by the imposing boss.
Hey, Mr. Mac. The excitement of the situation made me forget to welcome you to the team. Here's your first day's check. We'd like to hand these out early to remind you why you all put up with all of this.
The boss handed Mac his first check, smiled, and walked back out of the room. Unsure of what to expect, Mac opened the envelope and inspected it. He couldn't believe it. This much money for one day? Maybe he could see what day 2 looked like. For the following 8 months, Mac learned the ropes of being a guard at the dungeon HQ. He found his big boy voice and only used it when absolutely necessary due to the soul-sucking nature of using it. However, just as his proficiency for the job grew, so did his curiosity of the mysterious prisoner across the hall. During his tenure, Mac observed a recurring pattern. One by one, his fellow guards were tasked with extracting a confession from the inmate, only to return empty-handed and swiftly dispatched to Pound Town. Pound Town is where they take people who are really bad. They just pound you over and over again until you atone for your mistakes. The pit in Mac's stomach felt as cold and hollow as the prison he currently found himself working in. With how day 1 was going, there was no way he was coming back to see day 2. Once the guards shuffled the man off to Pound Town, the office door slowly opened, followed by the imposing boss. Each time, the failed guard vanished without a trace, replaced by a fresh-faced newcomer. Rumors flew. Some said he was of supernatural origin, while one creative guard theorized that they had captured American actor Vin Diesel, methodically getting into the role of a badass prisoner.
I ain't saying nothing.
The only thing Mac could confirm was the amount of supplies and additional caging the stranger required. This was already a Mac security cell, adding even more mystery to the inmate. Mac had become adept at avoiding his turn at conducting interrogations. While most guards would eagerly volunteer,
Yes, sir.
allowing Mac to step back, there were desperate times when he resorted to making up excuses, like a dead relative or faking period cramps. He was well aware of the dire consequences of missing a confession. Even his trainer couldn't escape the prisoner's grasp. It had been months since anyone had seen him, and his last known location was inside the cell across the hall. This all came to a head, however, when the big, imposing boss entered the room. Mac froze as he was filing his reports, hoping that his boss was some kind of predator that only sees movement.
Well, looks like you're literally the only person left. Let's see if you can get that confession.
The boss stated in a not-so-confident tone. Mac stood up from his desk and walked slowly towards the door with his head down. There was no way he could get a confession when everyone else failed. This prisoner was impenetrable, like a steel trap. The boss stood beside Mac as he unlocked the cell door.
Failure is not an option.
He repeated from his original speech 8 months ago, before pushing the creaky door open and shoving Mac inside. The atmosphere was still and haunting, shrouded in darkness, causing Mac to put his back to the one dimly lit wall. His entire body remained pressed against the cold bricks, resembling an NSYNC poster on an elder millennial's wall. The tension persisted as Mac began to realize that nothing was happening. Initiating conversation wasn't really his forte, and he hadn't uttered a single line in the story thus far. After what felt like hours of inactivity, Mac finally mustered the courage to step forward and get a closer look at his assigned captive. He proceeded cautiously towards the middle of the room, his eyes slowly adjusting to the darkness. With each step taken, he could sense the presence of a living being nearby. Counting his steps, first, second, but on the third, he collided with an unseen object, causing Mac to flail in fear and retreat back to the safety of his dimly lit wall. As he gathered himself, the noise from the middle of the dark room persisted. The crashing of flimsy iron echoed, moving in a pendulum manner as debris spilled onto the floor. Amidst the ruckus, a soft and low coo could be heard. Matt hugged the wall a bit longer, his heart rate gradually slowing. The fear he felt now stemmed more from the stories he had told himself over the past 8 months than from the context clues in the moment. Approaching the object once again, he extended his hands tentatively. Without the previous fear clouding his judgment, he found it easier to discern. It was no person, but a bird in a cage. As he pulled the cage closer to the light, the prisoner within was revealed. A common gray pigeon. Surveying the blunt objects and broken tools scattered around, Mac realized that each guard had attempted to extract a confession from a bird, all to no avail. It became abundantly clear to Mac that his employment hinged on his ability to get an admission of guilt from a feathered foe. No big boy voice or threats of violence could coax an inarticulate animal into admitting to spying. The absurdity of the situation weighed heavily on him. How could a pigeon possibly engage in espionage? But the facts remained the same. He would need to achieve the impossible or face the consequences of Pound Town. With tears welling in his eyes, Max slowly picked up a rusted pipe from the ground, contemplating the daunting task ahead. It was time to get his confession. But before he could make his first move, the front door to the cell busted open, with a woman on the other side.
Wait! PETA has negotiated the release of this prisoner. Stop what you're doing!
In May of 2023, the Mumbai police found a pigeon near one of their ports with 2 metal rings around its leg and what appeared to be Chinese writing on the underside of its wings. The alleged secret agent bird was held in custody for 8 months as the Mumbai police performed, quote, deep and proper inquiries and investigations. The animal rights nonprofit, PETA, secured the bird's release, with their director in India stating, quote, like all birds, pigeons should be free to soar the skies, forage for food, and raise their young as a couple. Experts believe that the pigeon was a Taiwanese racing bird who got lost during a race off the coast of Taiwan and may have rowed a boat to make the roughly 3,000-mile journey. According to the head of the Taiwanese racing pigeon platform, Nice Pigeon, quote, "A racing pigeon can fly for up to 620 miles in a day, but for it to fly to India, it had to make stops." He also went on to add that some pigeons from the island have been found as far as the United States and Canada. The pigeon was released in February of 2024 and was in fine health, according to the Mumbai Hospital for Animals. How was that for a mysterious stranger? A scary pigeon with some Chinese racing markings. This was around the same time as the Chinese spy balloon that caused a frenzy in the US, so perhaps everyone was predisposed to suspect anything as a Chinese spy. Spying has its consequences. It can cause a person to create their own narrative based off fragments of information, and it can cause entire countries to imprison a gross rodent of the skies. In all the ways that spying helps and doesn't help, maybe you will think twice before performing your own personal acts of reconnaissance. Because you are playing with very dangerous forces when you mix fear with incomplete information. So whether you're jumping to conclusions, spying on the unsuspecting, or accusing a poor animal of nefarious acts, think twice before perpetrating these cloak and dagger activities. You might just find yourself locked away in a cage of your own design.
I did not see that reveal coming.
Okay.
That entire time had to at least be a human being.
Yeah.
Like, I knew there was going to be a twist of some sort. I did not guess it was going to be a bird.
Yeah, I didn't put too many clues in there. I said at one point he was probably just ruffling his feathers. I said he required additional supplies and caging.
Okay.
But other than that, I didn't give a whole lot. I used the fact of Max staying in that room the whole time to my advantage of you don't know what's outside of that room, really.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually did hold it for 8 months because they suspected it. They said Chinese writing, it's a Chinese spy bird. And I don't know why it took them 8 months to figure it out. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm smarter than them and I could, but my first thing would be like, maybe find somebody who knows Taiwanese pretty well and bring him in. I don't know.
I will say that is an insane distance that the bird had to travel. Oh my God. Could you imagine? That could be a whole like Disney movie.
My original idea for the story was to do almost like a Tarantino sort of thing where it's like chapter 1, the prisoner, chapter 2, the racer, and then like explaining the racer. And then like by chapter 3, him getting the PETA thing and getting let out, then you'd find out that the racer is the prisoner.
Yeah.
And I was going to do an inner monologue of the bird being a badass racer. And then at the very end be like, he's actually a bird. But then I was like, that doesn't seem as easy to do.
Yeah.
I've been on a kick watching Twilight Zone lately. And there's the one where the woman goes to the clothing department, or like she goes to like a department store to get something, and they're like, oh, you need this very special thing. It's up in the secret level that nobody really goes to. She goes and gets it and is like, this is awesome, but it broke, so I need to get another one. She finds out that she's like an escaped mannequin, and she actually just belongs in that secret storage thing, so they're just trying to get her to go back up there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I get where you're going now, especially when you brought Twilight Zone back up. Because yeah, some of those episodes that I remember, most of them have like a big mystery and it comes out, you know? But like in scary movies or like spooky things, when you don't see what is actually causing the fear or the fright or whatever, I don't know, it makes it that much more scary. Kind of like a Blair Witch Project, how you never see, you know, exactly what's happening. You just hear the sounds.
Because our imagination is scarier.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In most situations.
Yes.
Like Freddy Krueger isn't sitting next to me right now.
Right. Yeah.
But the thought of it would be frightening.
Very much so. I love the buildup that you gave. I mean, I did not put 2 and 2 together, so you did it in a really good way. But damn, I just didn't see that coming. I just didn't see it coming at all.
Thank you. I also don't really know what came over me with the big boy voice thing. We've had the big boy voice come up in different stories throughout our time. It's a running thing of mine, but I didn't really mean to put a commentary on masculinity and how to talk like a man. But as I was doing it more, and I was like, this really fits the story and like the things that we do, the people we kind of become at our jobs. You know, I thought that's a fun little theme to bring up too.
No, that is for real. And I got to play a gruff male character in both stories. We talked about that. That was pretty interesting for me.
And that was my connection that I had in my mind going into it. I was like, oh, this is Amanda Goes Gruff.
Right. Also, I would say both have to do with spying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, invasion of privacy, eavesdropping, spying, you know, watching the tapes, trying to get revenge or answers. I mean, there was a decent amount of connections there.
That's a good point. Yeah. Just getting your information and not in ethical ways.
Right. Wow. Well, that's a very solid connection. And what an episode.
That was a good time.
It was a great time. It might be a little long, but hell. I hope that everyone out there just is having the best week ever. And remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed to hug our little Billy Possum.
Bye.
See ya.
Listen here, maggots. Thank you for listening to our podcast.
And if you have any great ideas for a president stuffed animal combo, send those ideas our way. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or Threads.
And have you ever stuck your tongue out during a mugshot? If so, send us your images and petty crime stories to livelaughlarceny@gmail.com.
And give us a better rating than I would give both of Amanda's characters, Sean69 or Pamela. 5 stars wherever you rate podcast, Apple, Spotify, Good Pods, or wherever you rate podcast.
Stay back, damn it!